Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob, to come back and break down the blast from the past from 2011.
Oh, yes. We're partying like it's 2011, back when the Giants were good and winning Super Bowls. Of course, everybody remembers this is the very last Super Bowl we won, 2011. Not to be confused with pathetic teams that have to go back to 1996 and earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you, stars.
Take that, Cowboys fans. So yeah, we got a whole theme going, guys. Is every single group we're pretty much going through has been kind of poop lately, guys. Kind of poop. So
Big old poop.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Poop, and more poop. There. That's what we have.
You ever see Jurassic Park when they're walking through the Triceratops Park? Yeah.
Oh, I know. You're talking about you're talking about that big old poop.
Yeah, big old pile of poop.
Yeah, that's basically what our draft classes have been.
I hope you wash your hands after watching those episodes.
Oh my God! Now I had the Royal Caribbean thing in my head. If anybody doesn't know what it is, by the way, look up Washy Washy Royal Caribbean. I'm telling you, you'll see it. They had that as you like go on to like the buffet. You have to wash your hands. Like they'll make you wash your hands even if you don't want to, which is great. I love that. First off, every buffet should do that. But they have people out there going washy 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 washy, and then they start doing songs like they did a Whitney Houston, like "Oh, I want to wash with somebody."
I will wash.
You know what though? Everybody remembers it, and everybody washes their hands. Like I said, every buffet should have it. I demand it from now on. It's like a whole like hallway you walk into go to into the Windjammer, which is their buffet, and that's what you have to walk through to go ahead and get into the food area. They like that. They will stop you. Like, nope, go wash your damn hands. Wash your hands.
Right.
Wash your hands. All right. I have all kinds of washing my hands songs in my repertoire. So, but yeah, there's a guy who's really like TikTok famous for it. And it's funny because he doesn't even have his own TikTok. It's just people taking videos of him and putting on TikTok.
That's amazing.
It is the craziest things that make you famous in life. Anyway, let's get to crazy things that should make you famous. And that's playing football. And I say should make you famous, but typically does make you famous. Maybe the better wording, but
if you're good,
people like us that keep making the famous. Damn it! So let's get right into it here. We're like I said, we're partying like it's 2011, and that's because our first round pick was Prince. Not that Prince Amukamara, cornerback out of Nebraska. Looks like he's tugging on his own jersey in that picture for some reason. It does. I kind of like that. I didn't even mean to do that. Things just kind of happen sometimes.
Prince Calabunga.
But yeah, again, corner out of Nebraska. He was the second highest rated corner out of that draft. This is a draft that we were kind of famously, again, leapfrogged left and right for players you wanted. This was a recurring theme throughout most of the drafts there. And unfortunately, that's just life as a Giant fan that time period there. Prince Amukamara spent 5 years overall with the Giants, had 55 games he played there, 45 starts, 261 tackles, 7 interceptions, 43 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 6 tackles for loss. And I think his career best sums him up as an average starting cornerback in this league, not quarterback, cornerback.
Yeah, corner.
And was serviceable for many years. Went beyond. We'll get into beyond the Giants here in a minute. He never reached an elite level. I mean, I can't say it's a win pick. Yes, he was a starter in the league. He didn't get past his rookie deal. He never became a Pro Bowl or caliber kind of corner at that point. And he always had that weird little nagging injury every year. It was always a different part of his body. It was always a different injury of some kind, but he always would miss a few games every year. But he was also a really classy guy by all counts. He never heard anybody talk trash about him. Everybody liked him, and he was a good guy to have in the locker room. So it's kind of like good pick. I don't know if I call it a great pick.
Yeah. This second round, then you can say it's a great pick.
Yeah, exactly. He would have been a great second round pick. You're 100% right. That's a great way of putting this. After he went on from us there, he played 1 year at Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2016, then started for the Bears from 17 to 19. In 20, he spent May through August with the Raiders in their camp, and then spent the rest of the year with the Cardinals on their practice squad. He then spent a few weeks with the New Orleans Saints there in 21 during their camp, but then got cut before the season even started. Well, just last year, we mentioned it when it happened there. He signed a one-day contract to retire as a New York Giant, which speaks volumes to what the organization thinks of him.
Again, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, because he obviously wanted to retire as a Giant as well. I mean, 5 years. It's not like he spent 8-9 years with the Giants there. He did his rookie deal, and that's it.
Yeah,
but like I said, definitely, it's hard to it's hard to hate on the pick to a certain degree because again, he was a solid corner in the league. He played for 10 years or so. That's a good career.
Yeah, he had a good career. Like you said, he was
but not a
very serviceable corner for most of his tenure. And yeah, he wasn't the stud that came out there that shut every receiver out. But he did his job.
He was a perfect CB2.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was. And again, when you're picking number 19, that's not what you're hoping for. So didn't quite live up to what you were hoping hype-wise there. But again, good guy, good player, long career. It's hard to hate too much on that. As far as what he's up to nowadays, Prince is married. He's also apparently a devout Christian who never drinks. That's one religion I can't do. If you got to not drink, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
More for me.
Seriously. Yeah, all power to you. Listen, that's your choice. Go for it. I'm not knocking it by any means, but listen, Jesus turned water into wine. God damn it.
For a reason.
Which the fact that I said God damn at the end makes it even weirder.
Yeah.
I realized that as I was saying, I was like, what? That's the weird wording.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's also an ambassador for Up to Us Sports, a national nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting underserved youth by providing them with coaches, trained in positive youth development. He also works with the Alliance Sports Training, which helps young athletes in the Omaha area. Now, that's not to confuse Omaha with the Peyton and Eli Manning Omaha.
I was going to say
Omaha, Nebraska, which, of course, where Nebraska University is, where he played his college ball there. So, good to see he's doing stuff, but it's like, it almost seems like, and I could be wrong, I don't know his personal life there, but it almost seems like he's keeping himself busy, but not crazy busy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, he's got a lot of time he doesn't drink, so it's not like he's hungover.
That's what it is. Just feels like you have all the spare time with that alcohol in your life. But no, like I said, like if you're just, you're helping a nonprofit, you're doing a training thing, like great work. I'm not knocking it by any means. I'm not like, anybody who has a position to help others and chooses to do so, that's an admirable thing.
100%.
I don't see anything about him having a full-time career out of football. I don't see anything about him, having businesses. Like we've talked about a couple that are, they call themselves serial entrepreneurs and all that kind of stuff. He's just kind of like, yep, I got my money. I'm going to go do some good, and I'm going to go chill and enjoy life.
That's it. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to do my nonprofits and Omaha steaks.
Yeah, I guess that there's nothing. Like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's what everybody should strive for in life. I've said forever, the whole point of working is to stop.
Yeah.
That's your goal. There's not a lot of things in life that's your goal, but that's your goal. He did make $46 million playing football. So if he was smart, which he's always seemed to be, he's probably got a nice little nest egg saved up where he's probably set for life. So I hope that's the case for him. You see too many athletes just spending all their money and going all crazy afterwards. He just doesn't strike me as that at all.
No, I don't see him busting tables in the next 10 years.
You know what's weird is I remember too, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, we didn't talk about this before. We were talking about the notes on the show here. I looked for something about this like crazy online. And I remember it being a story when he got drafted. I thought there was some story where he was actually an actual prince somewhere. That it wasn't.
I think you're mistaking that for I think you're mistaken that for a Nigerian parents that was looking for $1,000 to pay you back handsomely.
No,
if he's
no.
to him.
Listen, he's gonna call me. He's gonna send me an email back any day now. That guy, but no, I'm serious. I remember there being a story when he got drafted that he was an actual prince. I did Google it. I didn't find anything on that whatsoever.
I don't think that's true. I don't know if that
was just people thinking that because his name is Prince or what the deal is, but I remember there being a story about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Yeah, well, I'm crazy, but who knows? I don't know.
It's like Prince Akeem.
Oh, no, that's coming to America.
Oh yes, yes. F you too.
Achoo, bless you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that movie's hilarious.
Like
you see the new one? The new one they had on Amazon. The new one
coming to America.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good as you would expect. The best part of it is Wesley Snipes. He definitely steals the show.
Well,
Wesley
Snipes
talking
what? 30, 40 years later.
Yes, I'm kind of curious. They got the new Beverly Hills Cop one coming out soon on Netflix. I think is getting in.
Probably, I think it's Netflix.
Yeah. I saw on TV they were doing rounds of interviews with Judge Reinhold, and I'm trying to remember the other guy that was Taggart.
Eddie Murphy?
No, Eddie Murphy. I know, obviously, but there was the guy who played Taggart in the movies as well. You know, the bigger guy with the mustache who looked like he was 50, but actually was 30.
Oh, yeah, I forget his name.
By the way, I mean, I only say that because I IMDb. I'm weird like that. I watch movies and IMDb people to see what they're up to and what movies they've done and stuff like that. You're like, where do I know that guy from? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
I know Judge Reinhold. Obviously, he was in like Santa Claus and stuff like that, and he had a decent film career. Obviously, everybody knows Eddie Murphy, but I'm like, what happened to Taggart? And I look it up, and I remember his age. He was like 30 something. I'm like, well, hold on, this guy was in his 30s. He looks like he was in his 50s. Like the first one, like the banana, the tailpipe one, that one. You know what I mean? Like the very first movie, like, he looked like he was in his 50s. Oh my god! Here we are. We're like spending half our time talking about Beverly Hills Cop. Let's get on to the next guy here, because this one is a very interesting case here. This is a guy who had a little bit of a sordid past in college. We kind of had it in because we knew somebody that played with him and they vouched for him. We took him. We probably shouldn't have. And that's Marvin Austin, defensive tackle out of North Carolina. Now, if you look him up now and see things going on with him to try to see where he's at, which obviously we did for this episode, most of what you're going to come across is still this him and his issues in college. So the whole thing started when he tweeted, and yes, we're going that far back with tweets here, 2011. I forgot Twitter was even around back then. He tweeted, I live in Club Live with L-I-V. I assume you say it's Club Live. I don't know. I didn't go to Miami in 2011. He says, so I get the tenant rate. Bottles coming like it's a giveaway. Now, again, this is a club in Miami. He's in college, making no money. First off, how did he get down to Miami? Second off, how is he going to an exclusive club VIP area? And how is he also affording all these bottles? That started a whole thing. This is probably good. I have to look it up to see, but this could be historically the first time athletes got in major trouble in college for tweeting. I mean, granted, nowadays it give them the money and it would be no issue because of the rules changes and stuff. But now it's not nowadays; it's back then. So there was a big thing where they basically ruled him ineligible to play his entire senior year at UNC, alleging he took improper gifts from player agents. He was found to have accepted totaling $5,642, which I'm sorry. Duh. Like, I understand when you're broke in college, that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. Like, I understand when you're broke and doing a Giants podcast, that's a lot of money. But like,
buy me a cup of coffee.
It's a good time to go.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's not a lot of money when you're facing the barrel of an NFL contract here. I mean, these guys, a lot of them do this, and some of them do it in bad ways, some do it in good ways, but sometimes they'll mortgage their future, so to speak, where they literally go ahead and say, hey, give me this much money now, and when I get my NFL contract, you'll get this much if I earn this much, basically. One of those kind of scenarios. And there are banks that literally do loans based on that for college kids. He didn't do with that. $5,000 nothing. Even if you get $15,000, $20,000 later on, if you really need the $5,000 that bad, you had that as an option. And instead, you used it to go party in Miami, and you made it obvious in public That's a dirt. You know, like, and he's not the only one who got caught. Like, there's a big thing in UNC, but we're just focusing on him specifically, obviously, because that's what we're talking about in the show. Jerry Reese said he consulted former UNC wide receiver and then New York Giant Hakeem Nicks before making the pick. Austin even said after being drafted that Nicks was the very first person to call him after being drafted. So the two of them seem to be like, not necessarily like this, but at least like this.
Yeah.
Like they may not have been besties, but they obviously had a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? His rookie season ended very quickly as he tore his pectoral muscle in a preseason game against the Bears and ended up on the IR. So whole rookie year gone. 2012, he appeared for 8 games for the Giants, had 8 tackles. It's a very easy 1 tackle per game average. So 2013, he actually didn't play for us. He played sparingly for the Dolphins, 2 games there, 1 game for the Cowboys. 2015 is actually when he saw his most action. So 14, he kind of had a little redshirt year there. Nobody wanted him. 2015, though, he appeared in 15 games for the Denver Broncos before landing on the IR and then would literally never play again. So really not a very good career, guys. This is about as bad as it gets for a second-round pick. Like, this is not just a fail. This is a capital F, a capital A, a capital I, a capital L, a couple exclamation points afterwards, like big-time fail. For his career, 26 games, 22 tackles, and 1 tackle for loss. And again, as I said, 18 of those 28 games weren't even with the Giants. So we had 8 games, 8 tackles overall with the Giants. That's it. That's a really, really bad second-round pick, guys.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to jail.
Part of me went to go like, I wonder who we could have picked at this point. I was thinking about looking it up, and I'm like, no, that's just depressed me.
Yeah, don't do that.
Like the players we could have had, and we still won the Super Bowl this year with our second-round pick not even playing a single game like that too. Like, that's no wrong. I don't understand a second-round pick's not an elite player typically, but second-round pick's supposed to be a legit starter on your team.
Correct.
You know. Look at the second-round picks we've had in the past. You know, a lot of them are guys who become starters. Again, not all of them became great starters, but they were starters. You know, look at this year. Tyler Newman, second-round pick. What's going to happen? Starter. You know, that's
without a doubt.
You know, that's exactly what you expect at that point to happen. So, like I said, a little bit crazy there, that's for sure. Like, you know, John Michael Schmitz, starter. That's what happens second round. This was not that case. As far as what he's up to now, he's another guy that I had to look like crazy trying to find something on. Nothing out there at all. All you see is article after article about him getting in trouble at UNC. That's all it is. Even his Twitter account that he so famously used back in college has been unused since 2016. So he's just nowhere to be found, guys. And clearly doesn't want to be found, or else he'd be doing something somewhere to be found. I just hope whatever he's up to, I hope life's going well for the guy. Even though he's a bust for us, made a stupid decision when he's in college. I'm not going to hate on the guy for being a bust, and I'm definitely not going to hate on somebody for being an idiot in college. We were all idiots at college age. That's life.
That's the age.
Yep. All right. Let's get into round three.
Trace.
And that's Jarrell Jernigan, wide receiver out of Troy University. Not to be confused with Kal-El from the planet Krypton. Because I'm sorry, Jarrell. Like, I try not to be mean about names because you didn't pick it. Your parents gave it to you. But I'm sorry, Jarrell sounds like a guy from Krypton.
Isn't Jarrell what you call Clark's dad?
Is it? I thought it was Kal-El is his name, right? Yeah, Kal-El is Superman's. I don't know. Now I'm curious.
Jarrell.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if his parents were Super Bowl fans. Super Bowl fans. I mean, Superman fans.
Hopefully they're Super Bowl fans.
Super Bowl fans. And we're not going to talk about that in a minute. but yeah, like I didn't even catch that onto this now. Oh my god! And I was thinking the whole time as I'm writing this up, like the notes, and I'm like, this sounds like a Krypton name. But yeah, there we go.
I think it's even spelled like Jarre. E-L.
E-L. Well, so he spells his name differently at least.
Yeah.
So anyway, as a rookie, he got to appear in the Super Bowl. It was a key contributor actually in the game. Had 3 kickoffs overall. 2013 was definitely his best year. He had 29 catches for 329 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rushed the ball twice for 57 yards and a touchdown. For his career, though, 34 games, 4 starts, 38 catches, 391 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 rushes, 61 yards. So we just said basically the man just had, almost 390 yards in one season. He had 390 yards of receiving for his career and 60 yards. I mean, you're talking basically had 450, and he had almost 400 of them in 1 year. That's not a good career, guys.
No.
That's not. So yeah, appreciate what he did to help us win a Super Bowl, but yeah, not an impressive career overall. That's the guy you go, oh yeah, that guy. And honestly, like when we do this, some of these names, you don't think about these names in years. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about Jernigan. He was definitely one of those guys because you just don't think about that kind of stuff because he didn't have that great a career. Not to beat a dead horse, be mean about it, but
he had the flashes, but
when his rookie deal ended, no one picked him up in 2015. 2016, he decided to try his luck at the CFL. So he signed on with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but never played a game for them. And that was the end of his career overall. 2017, he was inducted into Troy University's Hall of Fame. 2022, he was named the head coach at his old high school, Eufaula High School in Eufaula, Alabama. And in 2013, just this past season, he was named the 5A Coach of the Year.
2023.
Well, yes, this past season, I said.
Oh, yeah. You said 2013.
Oh,
threw me off a second. I was like, yeah. Gonna go back in time.
Marty.
Great Scots.
But yeah, good to see. I mean, listen, not everybody gets to go in the NFL, becomes a star. Not everybody gets to go into the NFL, becomes a long-time player in the NFL. We talked about it before. The average lifespan of an NFL player, about 3 years.
3 years.
He had 4 years, so I guess it's better than the average. Had 1 year at least.
Bigger than the average.
Got to do kickoffs in a Super Bowl. I mean, listen, this is like a good story overall to have. He's got pictures of him in an actual NFL jersey and all that kind of fun stuff there. Like, this is nothing to be embarrassed or cry home about, but it's nothing to be overly excited about either. That's basically where his career ends up. But then he goes afterwards and becomes a guy who literally has a second career with a sport he loves. There's that's a nice thing. And listen, some of these high school coaches make a lot of money. I'm not saying a ton of money, like they're not millionaires because they're high school coaches, but some of them are making 6 figures a year doing that kind of stuff. And again, he had a short career with a rookie deal. I actually looked it up. He made $2.6 million as a New York Giant. So you can figure he had a nice little nest egg to start his life off with when he was done with his 4 years. But he was no means, like we were talking before about, Prince Amukamara probably able to step aside and just live his life afterwards. Like Jernigan was not that guy. But he had a nice little nest egg to start with. And like I said, you get a career like that. If you're a good high school football coach, and obviously coach of the years don't go typically to bad high school coaches, and you're in an area that cares about high school football, like, I don't know, Alabama. Alabama definitely cares about high school football.
Alabama.
I mean, that's just the way that life is in that kind of state. And he's probably making good money doing it. So he's probably making 6 figures chilling, being a football coach, doing what he loves doing.
And he's also in Alabama. It's not like you need that much money to live in Alabama.
Yeah, and sometimes it becomes like your job for life, if that's what you want. Sometimes that happens. So, good for him. I'm glad to see he's still doing football. Makes me actually think a little fonder of him because that means he just loved playing football. You got to root for anybody who seems to love the game. Sometimes you see, like, you can tell they're going through the motions. You can tell. Yeah. And some guys you can tell just love the game. I love it when a player just loves the game. I think partially because we all wish that we could play that game for a living. So you kind of hate when you see a guy who didn't love it doing it. But when you see a guy who does love it, it's nice to see. It is nice to see. All right. So let's see what we had brewing in round 4.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
Oh, yes, because we're talking about James Brewer. James Brewer. There we go. Look at that. Oh, that was.
It looks like he had a couple brewskis.
He definitely probably had a few brewskis, unlike Prince Amukamara. So,
yeah. He had enough for him and Prince.
Now, he got a little bit of a late start into football life there. He never played football until his senior year in high school. Until then, he only played basketball. Kind of interesting that guy never plays until his senior year of high school and still gets scouted enough to actually go to college and play at a big school eventually, like Indiana. I'm like, that's don't get me wrong. It's not Alabama. It's not Notre Dame. But Indiana's still a bigger school in general. You know what I mean? Like, that's still impressive.
Yeah.
1 year. I guess I'll go to college and get a scholarship for this.
I guess.
I guess. So, but you see a player like that as well, and you go, okay, you know what? This guy never played really in high school. He played 1 year. Now he's playing a little bit in college. He's still probably learning the game. This is a guy you could take a flyer on, mid to late round pick at that point, see if you can develop him. I can't blame them on the pick. Like, that's not a bad line of thinking, because chances are, let's be honest, guys, your 4th round pick is probably not going to pan out. That's life.
Yeah,
that is life. Case Sinatra. You want him to pan out, obviously. We've had some guys that have panned out over the years of the 4th round, and some of them have been absolute surprised out of nowhere. Remember, Sam Garnes back in the day came out of nowhere as a starter for a few years at a safety, and nobody expected that. You get that kind of stuff lately. But this just wasn't that case. 4 seasons with the Giants. He played in 26 games, including 8 starts at left guard, 2013, which he had never played before. NFL, college, or football, or high school. Never played the left guard position. Never played the guard position. And they just kind of threw him in there. So I kind of feel like he never really got quite a fair shake to actually show what he can do in a game to that degree to a certain part there, because he never played the position. Never even practiced.
He never got a fair.
And you threw him out there. And then we had evaluated him based on playing a position he never played before.
That's fair.
You wouldn't go to a track team like, hey, you do the 100-yard dash. Go do this hurdles.
Or, hey, I see you do the 400. Why don't you throw this javelin?
Hey, excuse me. I see you're a custodian in an office building. Have you tried curling? Here you go.
Yeah.
Like,
you got the mop, do the same thing.
You just don't see it. Like, it's just a little weird there. But obviously he also didn't excel in practice and stuff like that. They would have given more of a shot tackle though too. I mean, let's be honest there. It's kind of a double-edged sword. After his 4 seasons were up, he played with the Jets in 2015, was waived before the season started. Another guy that I looked for a lot of news on him, and all I found when you look up James Brewer was a ton of obituaries. That's the problem, is it's a very popular name.
Yeah.
It might as well be John Smith, and we start talking about his story with Pocahontas. It's a very, very popular name. I can tell you this: there was a lot of James Brewers that did die and were loved by their families.
Sounds like a very wholesome name.
Yes, it really does. It really is. Like, it's just that's just where it is, unfortunately. So, hopefully good things happen for him after his playing days are over. But if anybody knows, pop it in the comments, guys. I'm always curious to hear these things, and we don't get like hateful when people are like, oh, we found this information. Here you go. Like,
yeah,
we love it. Seriously. So
share the news.
Or if you really want to have fun with this, let's make up fake stories. What do you think James Brewer is up to? Is he perhaps robbing a bank in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma, or Alabama? There is he?
No, he's probably up back in Michigan, and he's got like a panic room, but he's also got one of those like trap rooms in the basement that connects from from the laundry chute down in there.
I heard he was training to be a figure skater for China in Beijing. That's what I heard.
Oh yeah. Group stuff, not solo, right?
Just go with it. Let's go with it. Yeah. What the hell? So let's have a little fun with it, because we do got a sad story coming up. So let's have some fun while we can. Let's get to the next guy here, who is, I'm telling you want to talk about common names here. We talk about, trying to find people and what they did afterwards in life there. And I'll tell you, I did find this guy. Spoiler alert, I did find him afterwards, what he's up to. And it's crazy because he does have one of those really, really common names. And that's Greg Jones. The Giants and Mr. Greg Jones.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Sha la 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 la. Starts at Michigan State, Ann Arbor. That's not Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor is Michigan. Where's Michigan State? I was trying to do the Mr. Jones song there. I know it's in Michigan, obviously, but wow. You sure? I thought it was in Illinois. Like, wow. Where is Michigan State? I got to look it up now. I don't even know where that is. East Lansing. I did know that, actually. I should know that because we got some Giants that were Michigan State guys at that point. Even I think, if I remember correctly, I don't have it up. I do believe that Carl Banks was Michigan State guy. For some reason, I'm thinking that. That's my mind is taking me to Carl Banks. Could go Magic Johnson, but he wasn't a Giant. We're going to Carl Banks there. Anyway, Greg Jones, again, linebacker, Alabama now. I'm saying because I said Tuscaloosa before. We're talking about James Brewer. Linebacker out of Michigan State, Spartan there. No confirmation if he was in the movie 300 or not. Round 6, 185. Ended up starting a bunch of games there for this rookie year after Jonathan Goff was injured. Another blast of the past I hadn't thought of ever. Jonathan Goff. He actually got engaged on the field while celebrating the Super Bowl win in 2011 too, which is kind of nice. Was cut though in 2012 before the season even began. So like literally he played 1 year with us and that's it. He did briefly sign on with the Las Vegas Locomotives of the UFL, but left the team when they didn't pay him shortly before the league folded. In 2023, 2013, I put that wrong, was signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, pretty impressive. He didn't play for 10 years to get signed. He appeared in 6 games with no stats with them while battling an ankle injury, but then he ended up landing on the IR with a broken leg on Christmas Eve, and then was cut May of 2013. Just 9 days later, he was signed by the Titans. He missed several preseason games with an ankle injury, and then was waived injured by the team there. So overall, with the Giants, 16 games, 5 starts, 31 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 tackle for loss. Again, had 6 more games with the Jaguars, but no stats to mention. And obviously, everything else was cut before the actual regular season there. And then, of course, as I forgot to take the screen off. I see your chat now. You could have told me something instead of let me keep that screen up the entire time. People are to see just this segment on YouTube and think we're just an audio podcast. Here we are.
Our lovely faces. Roll them.
Once he was done there. Once he was done there playing in the NFL, he did go off to the CFL again. So 2014, he signed on with the Toronto Argonauts and played there for 2 years. Was a CFL All-Star in 2015 there. In 2016, he played for the team with quite possibly the best football name ever, and more because of the town than the actual name of them. The Saskatchewan Roughriders. Which
Rough Riders.
Now, I assume there's something in Saskatchewan or Canadian history about the Rough Riders, but I automatically go to Teddy Roosevelt, who I believe did not spend much time in Canada.
No, but
in the United States.
But I'm pretty sure DMX wrote a song about them.
Did who? Teddy Roosevelt or the Rough Riders?
The Rough Riders.
Riders. It was a different Rough Rider. I'm pretty sure that was different. We'll have to wait for confirmation of that. If anybody wants to put that in the comments section there, but I do believe that is a different Rough Rider. He's actually still married there, so I guess we're able to find some information on him currently. So he did end up marrying the woman he got engaged to during the Super Bowl there back in 2013. Had a daughter born in 2014. While still playing, he actually took more classes at Michigan State to complete his degree in 2015. So that's nice.
Nice.
I was able to find his Instagram, and that's where I found a lot of the information as far as what he's up to at this exact moment. And apparently he's got a bunch of jobs. Like literally this man has got postings of things everywhere that he does apparently on that. So here's what he lists himself as: an inspirational speaker. Which, by the way, if you look up any former player, there's a website where pretty much they're all on for inspirational speaking. Apparently that's like an ex-athlete thing. He's also the VP of Van Protective Gear. Now, I looked up Van Protective Gear, found nothing. Looked up Van Protective Gear Greg Jones, found nothing. So I don't know what that is, to be very frank with you guys. He's the director of Life is Your Playbook, which is a leadership camp at the Lakes Area Community Coalition of Walled Lake, Michigan. So yes, he is back in Michigan, back where he used to play. He's
Back
also
where it started.
a rodent and fields consultant. Now, we're going to wear this very carefully so Rob and I don't get sued. Some people, not saying we definitely have not. Some people have called it a pyramid scheme.
I've heard it's shaped like a triangle in 3 dimensions.
I am going to say that it's a multi-level marketing company that deals in hair and skin products. Take what you want from that. Take what you want from that. He also listed a website on his Instagram, forcefield.com. So the number 4 CE field.com. So Force Field is a company whose website is actually down. And they were apparently, according to what I've been able to find online, a very small manufacturing company based out of Lansing. That's according to Zoom Info, that website that pulls up random information on businesses. Everybody's been there, has done research and stuff before they pop up. So I'm not sure what they did. It sounds like they don't do it anymore. I don't know if they were involved with the Van Protective Gear thing that I can't find anything else on as well. But yeah, that's what he's up to. Listen, I mean, it sounds like he's trying some businesses out. It sounds like he's doing some good stuff here with the leadership camp there. Family man, still married to the woman that he engaged to during the field, and I think a lot of people remember him for that because that was like, it doesn't happen every year, but
Yeah.
when it does happen and it's your team, you kind of remember it a little bit, So like I said, glad to see things seem to be going well for him. He's got a good family, got a home back where he went to college again, so things seem to be on the up for Greg Jones there. Let's get to the next guy here, and this one's going to be a little more of a sad tale for you guys. This one is another person that, I'll be very frank, I forgot about this story entirely until we were looking up this draft again. And it's a sad story. It's one you kind of want to forget, but here we are to remind you, kind of like jerks here. And that's Tyler Sash, defensive back out of Iowa. And he's the guy that we drafted 6th round, 198th overall. So obviously those kind of guys, you don't have a ton of expectations on them there, really. He kind of did what you expect out of a 6th round pick. He had a bit part for a few years, didn't really quite make it. That's kind of what you get out of a 6th round pick typically. 2012, he was suspended for 4 games for testing positive for Adderall, which he said he took legally to deal with anxiety to help him with public speaking. Obviously, as a Giants player, you do have to do some public speaking. You are required by the NFL to be available to media. One of the things you don't hear much about, like some of these guys legitimately have medical issues of anxiety dealing with these kind of situations. And I've never heard anything about what the NFL does for those people in those scenarios. I mean, you got to wonder even if Marshawn Lynch, if that was part of his problem.
I was going to say, he was like shy kind of guy. And he just went up there so he didn't get fined.
He said he did it because the media twisted his words around. But you listen, I wouldn't be surprised if there's the potential of some of that being there. It's not easy being in front of people with lights and cameras on you and asking you a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
But so he got cut right before the 2013 season. His stats as a Giant, 23 games overall, 0 starts, 26 tackles, and 1 forced fumble. The really sad part comes a little bit afterwards there. September 8th, 2015, he was found dead in his home in Oskaloosa, Iowa, at the age of 27. The autopsy revealed his death was caused by a mixture of drugs. It was later discovered that he was suffering from stage 2 CTE at 27 years old. Now, his family did donate his brain and everything to find out information and stuff like that there. I also looked it up because I was curious. Like, I don't pretend like we all know CTE. Like, I feel like at this point, not necessarily at 2011 11, going back that far. But at this current present point in the NFL, players know about it. They understand the risk involved in playing. These guys didn't necessarily. But I feel like we as fans, we know about it. We know it exists, but I can't say any of us really want to be an expert because we don't want to ruin the fan experience. But I was kind of curious, like, what are the symptoms in stage 2? I think we all know symptoms. We talk about stages and things like cancer and stuff like that. But we don't necessarily. This is such new stuff, and again, a lot of fans. Let's be honest, we don't want to necessarily go like, "Hear no evil, see no evil" on it. So, stage 2, behavioral outburst, mood swings, irritability, and the last one I thought was very interesting: anxiety. We go back to again suspended in 2012 for taking Adderall, which he said he took to deal with anxiety. Makes you wonder when he actually started getting symptoms then. He might have literally entered the NFL already.
Stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, he might have already had these issues from his college days, high school days, Pop Warner days. I mean, people don't think about this stuff sometimes. I mean, even again, obviously, I never made it to the level that these guys made it. Like, I don't try to front and try to say I was very good at football. I played a little in high school. I was a horrible player. Let's be very frank. I was the guy they put at the end of JV games just to say he got in the game. That was my role. But I had 2 concussions in my day playing, and I remember them very well. It was like literally like blacking out, seeing stars and stuff like that, and that's what we used to call it back in those days, seeing stars. But for me, for somebody who played, 1 year Pop Warner and played 2 years in high school and had 2 concussions, it makes you wonder sometimes with some of these guys how many they had in their careers, because some people are more prone to it than others. Some people are more. It's like anything injury wise. I hate to say this injury, but it's like a bruised brain kind of thing at that point.
Well, that's 100% what a concussion is a bruised brain.
But I'm saying it's much different. It affects you much more than a broken leg or an arm. I don't want to undermine either option. That's what I mean. Like, I want to kind of word my word this because I don't want to.
I mean, you got some guys that they can do a crab walk, MC Hammer side, do the crab dance, back and forth, no problem.
The Addams Family groove.
Touche.
Yes.
But some people that do that, and next thing they know, they tear an MCL and flip it a meniscus.
Oh yeah.
There's some people just can't tolerate movements the same way. Like, same thing with concussions. Like, sometimes someone could just whip their neck the wrong way and get concussed.
Yeah.
Compared to some people that could get hit by a car and just walk off like nothing happened.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
So
fat skulls, thick skulls.
Yeah. So, I'm just glad that the NFL is now doing new helmets and stuff like that. They're taking it serious. You can tell, regardless of why, you can make the claims about them taking it serious because of lawsuits and the movie with Will Smith that came out and that kind of stuff.
Say, and that came out 2015, which is right at this time.
Yeah. So, right around that time. So, like I said, sad story overall, guys. So, let's try to move on to a little happier because yeah. I don't like doing sad things. This is the football show. We're supposed to have fun. Jaquan Williams. Let's go right into it. Jaquan Williams, 6th-round pick number 202. Played at USF as a linebacker from Riverview, Florida, where I used to live.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I used to live there in Hillsborough. I technically live in Gibsonton, which is right next door to it, but I was like 1 block over from Riverview. So, and people don't like Gibsonton necessarily. It's kind of a carny town. Like, literally, the town was started by people who were the freak show people of Ringling Brothers. I'm not even making that up. Like, that's not like a, that's not a hyperbole. That's like legit what happened. But yeah, so he started off at Fort Scott Community College, where he also played with Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP. Some people may have heard of him. The two would actually go on to play together at USF, and then obviously play the Giants as well. So he played 4 seasons with the Giants overall, best known for the NFC Championship game against the Niners, which was January 22nd, 2012. That's where he literally caused Kyle Williams to fumble on a punt return, setting up the game-winning field goal that would bring the Giants to the Super Bowl. You could make the case that potentially, if not for the draft pick of Jaquan Williams, the Giants would not be going to the Super Bowl that year. Somebody else might not make that play. I mean, we also could have scored another way, perhaps, and still gone. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible that we wouldn't have gone, but it's one of those little interesting things. Like, here's a guy who played 4 years with the Giants, didn't really have a huge role with the team overall. He never really quite panned out, but he made a freaking big play.
He made it when we needed it.
Exactly.
So, thank you, Mr. Williams.
And this is a guy that point blank, anytime he walks into a bar in the New York area, somebody should buy that man a beer, point blank. In fact,
yeah,
I don't know if he lives still my neck of the woods, but it'd be kind of interesting if he, if he did, and I saw him there, because there's actually a Giants bar right outside of USF, so it'd be kind of cool if we can get him there.
Ooh.
Yeah, see. After the game, this was the quotes he gave, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Because remember, after the game, there was a big issue with the fact that with the whole scenario of these punch outs there from him. After the game, he said, the thing is, we knew he had 4 concussions, so that's our biggest thing, was to take him out of the game. Williams literally fumbled twice in that game, which led to 10 points for the Giants. And it's kind of interesting, the back and forth we're talking here, because we just talked about Tyler Sash a minute ago and, passing away, and CTE potentially being at least a contributing factor to his mental health issues and drug issues. Now you got a guy that literally was saying, hey, this guy had 4 concussions. We decided to go after him for it. So there was a big thing on that. I mean, the NFL literally looked into whether or not they should fine the Giants or do something about this, because there was other people who said the same thing. Like, we knew we had this man had concussions. We went for it. You kind of like it when it's on your team to a certain degree because we won the game. But I'll tell you what, if I was a Niner fan, I'd be pissed. Not exactly the classiest move. But we did it. We won. We got to the Super Bowl. We got 4 ranks, damn it. So he literally played every linebacker position on our defense at some point. So definitely had that versatility. John Beeson was said to be act as a mentor to him when he came to the Giants. For his career overall, 51 games, 22 starts, 242 tackles, 17 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 4 QB hits. But he never played again after his rookie deal was up. And I was trying to find out more on why. And all I could find is there was an article saying, and this is actually a Buccaneers article, ironically enough, where right Tampa Bay, where I live and where he lived. It said 5 teams contacted him about playing, including the Buccaneers. But what's weird is if 5 teams talked about this guy, that's a pretty high amount of teams. Like,
yeah, especially
why
for
did
6
not
round.
a single one of these guys pick him up? That just seems a little odd to me. Unless it was just like they just didn't have a lot of interest and they're just kind of keeping tabs in case they needed him. And he was like a backup plan for him. But yeah, he never played again after those 4 years with the Giants there. As far as personal life, again, not much on there. And this is not a name like some of the guys we talked about, like James Brewer earlier, where there's 10,000 of them, and you expect to find nothing on this guy. Like, I expected to find something. I found nothing. I can tell you he's a father. I did find an article where he took a private tour of the Big Cat Rescue. Yes, that Big Cat Rescue of the Tiger King fame there. We got a tour with Carol Baskin, who definitely did not chop up her husband in a meat grinder. Definitely did not, for the record.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah, Carol Baskin. But yeah, so we know he at least had 1 kid because of that. I don't know anything further. I don't know as far as married, multiple kids, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I have no clue. Nothing on them. So if anybody knows anything and sees anything, by all means, pop it in the comments section. We'd love to hear about that kind of stuff. See what these guys are at. It's interesting. It's fun. We got one more player for you guys, and that's Darrell Scott, a guy that probably a lot of you guys forgot about, to be honest with you. 7th round pick. You don't really think about those guys too often 10 years down the road. When Darrell Scott was just 8 years old, his parents actually split. His father was barely a part of his life. He mentioned also how his father used to regularly even miss scheduled visits. So he was a huge Jordan fan. So everybody assumed he wore 23 at Maryland because of the fact he wanted, to do something for Jordan because he was a big Jordan fan. No, it was actually to honor his brothers. His brother James wore number 20. His brother Lee Jr. wore number 3. And he has said in an interview that they were his father. So that's a nice thing there. So he wanted to do something to honor his brothers that helped raise him when they themselves were kids, and wore number 23 at Maryland in their honor. As a Giant, though, he did have to switch to 33 because if you remember from back in the day, numbers wise, Corey Webster, the starting corner, already had 23. He wasn't giving that up.
Yeah,
can't blame him. I'm not going to give it up either if I'm him. Why would I give it up to a guy who may never even
start?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll see what happens as far as that. But spoiler alert, yeah, no, it didn't work out very well. So, he made the roster his rookie year as a third running back behind Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs there. So talk about going from big name giant to it's just like steep drop off at the third running back position there. He had an impressive preseason, which is what made him get that spot there. 97-yard touchdown run, a 65-yard TD on a fake punt as well. In that season overall, he played 11 games. In 2012, it ended pretty quickly for him after 4 games with knee surgery. 2013, he got just 1 start ever in his career, and that was that year against the Chiefs, which he had 26 yards on 5 carries. I guess not a bad yard per carry average, but Giants couldn't have been too happy with the performance because they waived him right after the game. Talk about going from high to low. Like, get your first NFL start. Boom. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's a roller coaster of the NFL, guys. The Giants then picked him back up a week later after David Wilson hurt his neck. He then was waived again after injuring his hamstring in week 6. So whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. Roller coaster. Yeah. But then after that week 6 drop, he never played in the NFL again. His Giants career, 20 games, 1 start, 31 rushes, 98 yards, 3.2 yards per carry, no touchdowns, 13 catches for 115 yards and 1 touchdown. So at least he saw pay dirt at one time in his career. That's the guys I feel bad for. Like, you never, like, that's got to be like a thing. Like, as an offensive player, you want to score a touchdown. That's the goal. So yeah, 1 at least.
You would hope so.
2015, he went to play for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 2016, he played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which it seems like a weird name for a football team. The Tiger Cats. Like, why not just call it the Tigers? Like, they're tigers. Yes, they're cats.
We understand that.
It's not like the Miami Dolphins mammals. Like
Marine
it
life.
just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's the Atlanta Falcons birds. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what they did. He now is living in Pennsylvania with his wife and 3 kids. His Instagram lists him as a sports performance coach. Shows a lot of pictures of the speed and agility camps he does in Trooper, PA. So I'm assuming he lives right near Trooper, if not in Trooper at that point there. So if you're out in Trooper, PA, and you want to go ahead and get your kids into a speed and agility camp, apparently you can do it with an ex-Giant. So fun if you're a Giant fan there. So let's look at this monstrosity as a whole here, because this draft class, like, we're gonna put pictures of Prince Amukamara up, and that's it, because that's like the one lone like bright spot in this draft. I mean, like, let's seriously, let's take a look real quick at this again. You get a first round pick who's a solid starter but never became like an elite player. Semi-win. You get a second round pick who is 8 tackles for his career. Can't call that a win in any shape or form. You got a third round pick that literally had 1 okay-ish year, and that's it out of 4. You have a guy in the 4th round who didn't make it past the rookie deal and had 8 starts. You got a guy as a 6th round pick that you cut pretty quickly after a year. You got another 6th round pick that didn't stick around, got suspended at one point for Adderall. You got another 6th round pick that you didn't keep past your rookie deal. He had a huge play. We'll give him the huge play bonus. And you got Darrell Scott, again, another guy, 7th round pick now that didn't make it through past his rookie deal. I mean, it's kind of sad. You think about it. There's not a single player on this entire draft class, guys, that went past his rookie deal. That's a loss.
Yeah.
That's a big loss, guys. I kind of wish we had kept Prince Amukamara, though. I did like him. I always liked Prince. Again, I know he wasn't elite. I know we didn't have to like sit there and pretend like he was, because he wasn't. We all knew he wasn't. He's a solid player. It's just one position you have to worry about. So, but yeah, that's a sad draft class, guys. That's a very, very sad draft class. Let's cheer us up by breaking out into the Giants news here, because that's much more happy there, that's for sure, after we pay the bills.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All right, let's get into some Giants news.
It's time for the news. Delete, 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 delete.
All righty. So, first bit of news we have. PFF came out with a list of the top 400 offensive players that you would look to go ahead and draft in a PPR league. Now, this is up your alley, I know. This is This is definitely right up your alley, 100%, Rob. I know how you are. You love it. Malik Neighbors already wins as a highest graded Giant. I think this is the first time I've seen that on a list there. It's kind of kudos to him here. Neighbors 42nd. Well, no, I'm saying like as a rookie to be the best supposed one, but 42nd overall, 22nd around amongst wide receivers. That seems a little high for me, doesn't it? For a guy who's never played in a game before. And again, a guy that, listen, I've talked about this guy in a not so horrible light. I guess probably the best way to put it. But a guy who also with Daniel Jones as quarterback.
I mean, you still say Devontae Adams is a good receiver, even though you had Derek Carr throwing to him. Even though you had,
I get it.
Even though you had Jimmy G throwing to him, but
Derek Carr throwing to him in college too, though. It's okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, like, you still look at Olave down in New Orleans, or you look at, so like he still looks like still plays clutch, even though Derek Carr once again out of his prime throwing to him.
Yeah, it's just like I said, to me it just seems just a little bit crazy. But we get off from him, and we don't have another Giant until number 98 overall with Devin Singletary. That's not good, guys. We talked about the improved offensive weapons for the Giants. 2 of them in the top 98. There's 32 teams. We should have at least 3. It just tells you PFF does not think we have any really offensive talent here, basically. Wan'Dale Robinson next to 171. Daniel Jones on the list there. Pick number 202. That's 30th best amongst quarterbacks, guys. So you can definitely tell that PFF is not a huge fan of Daniel Jones. Tyrone Tracy Jr., our rookie running back there at 199. Jalen Hyatt, 212. Darius Slayton, 217. Which just shows you that they are with us on the fact that these two are basically battling it out for that position with the Giants, because they're within 5 points of each other there. That's pretty crazy. Daniel Bellinger, 250. Theo Johnson, 301. And I got to say, just based on what I'm seeing in these practices so far, I think I'm becoming Camp Theo Johnson. Like, I think I'm picking Theo to get the starting job over Bellinger. I think that's what the Giants want too, but we'll see. So that would be like one that I think if you're looking for a PPR and you're going based on that, I think that he actually is a better bet than Daniel Bellinger. Plus, he's the higher ceiling. Let's be honest. He's also the lower floor, but he's the higher ceiling. Drew Lock, number 347, ranked 38th amongst quarterbacks. So it just tells you they don't think Drew Lock is a huge drop off from Daniel Jones there. Giants defense got ranked 349, and Graham Gano, what do you know, got number 391 there at that point. So,
which kudos to him because you don't really see kickers on there like that.
oh, you really don't. So, but I mean, he is a well-respected veteran kicker like that. So, but yeah, like I said, it's kind of crazy, guys. It's kind of crazy where we're at here. I mean, you got, if you want to even just talk about the 200, okay, the 200, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 200. That's not good either. You should have probably 7 at that point. You know, like PFF does not like the Giants' weapons. And I got to say, I kind of agree with them. But here's why I agree with them. And it's going to be a weird way. And I know, Rob, this fantasy is your forte. So I know you're pumped to go in your second here, but
Oh yeah.
But I feel like the big thing for me is position battles. Like Devin Singletary, good running back. Tracy is a former wide receiver now, running back. So is he going to take away some of the catches? Is he going to be more the third down back? Is he going to take some of that away from him? And does that lower his value? Does that increase Tracy's as a backup running back in this kind of situation? You got the battles between Hyatt and Slayton. You got the battles between Johnson and Bellinger. You can't pick those guys high because of that. Because you don't know which way he's going to win unless you're going to handcuff and take both and just hope that one of them becomes a beast, basically. You got Drew Lock basically breathing down Daniel Jones's neck, whether or not the coaching staff wants to say it is the truth or not. They want to have all the confidence in Daniel Jones, but let's be honest, we all saw him play last year. It's okay to not have full confidence in him. There's a lot of guys that you can sit there and say they're not bad players, but I'm not sold in them winning the position or being a top tier guy because they might just spread the ball around to other people. So,
yeah,
I don't think Giants hate of their scenario.
But I think when it comes to fantasy football, I typically do not draft anyone on the Giants because I don't want to hate or love any extra what's going on. I usually stay away from Dallas and Eagles players as well because I can't root for a team that I hate and despise. But that being said, you're right. A lot of this comes down to positional value, right? If you're going to draft a quarterback when it comes to DJ, right? Everyone saw what he did last year. PFF and a lot of fancy rankings gave him mid-level, maybe 12. It would be high in ranking last year of QB, and everyone got burnt of how he played. But when it comes down to like our receivers, Neighbors is a big prospect. People talk about him. No matter where he went, he was going to be drafted high in fantasy football. And drafted high is not saying too much when you're talking about, what do we say? He's at 42 overall, so that means there's 41 other players ahead of him. How many receivers is that? Receivers.
So
yeah,
he's ranked as a lower end top tier receiver, basically.
So if you're playing in a 12-man league, that's your number 2. That's not your number 1.
Yeah.
So it's not saying he's going to do fantastic, but
he could though. He could. That could be a slam dunk for a second receiver. Seriously,
it really could be. But the thing is, if he comes out and does 1,000+ yards his rookie year, and he winds up playing, you don't have to say as well as Odell, but like if he puts on like 80% of those numbers, 75% of those numbers, he's going to come out and be a good player. And most of those numbers are probably going to be yak yards, which is going to consideration. So like you're talking about big plays. Most leagues will have bonuses on big plays, which is also going to make Danny Jones look better, which is probably why he's not 31 or 30, 32nd. But after that,
I'm looking up actually real quick because I'm curious. Who was the 22nd best wide receiver in PPR last year? Guess who it was?
Slayton.
Devontae Smith. I would take that as a rookie year.
Yeah.
I would definitely take that as a rookie year.
But you go back at it too, like you talk about, Tracy Jr., you're talking about Singletary. Singletary's been a respected running back in this league. Yep. He's not your obvious number 1, but like he's a great number 2 when it comes to your running back. Or depends how you draft. You might have him as your number 1, but that's probably not a good thing. And just like you said before, you summed it up. Slayton, Hyatt, similar players, depends how they do. A lot of people are probably going to stay away from him when it comes to drafting because you don't know what you're going to do. those are the guys you're going to pick up and switch in when you guys got people on bye weeks. It's if they with Belly and Johnson Jr. Like you got a tight end group. Like obviously you got your Kelce's, you got your Andrews, you got certain
Kittle.
Kittle. If you had Waller, you would probably go Waller. But those are you guys are going to pick. Yeah, those are the guys who would pick up first, and then you probably forget about the tight end spot to like round 14, 15. You know, like no one's picking up block. That's why it's down there. And the Giants defense just goes late, but they're probably going to be like a top 10 fantasy defense this year.
Yeah. I mean, especially if they continue with it last year with the interceptions and turnovers, they get more sacks now having Brian Burns.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. I mean, we've gone over this ad nauseum, but it all depends on how the secondary holds up.
Yeah, but I mean, when you talk about who would you take with the Giants, Neighbors would probably be number one, and then you're probably looking at Singletary, Giants defense, and Graham Gano before you go anywhere else. Wando.
Yeah, Wanda, I think could be a PPR beast if he can stay healthy. I really do think we talked about before. I think he could be a 100-yard catch guy easily in this league. He's got to get healthy. That's all. So
yeah, I think he's going to be your sleeper. Get him late.
Yeah, but I'm with you on skipping Giants. I feel like the only ones that I would look at if I was picking right now is I have confidence in Neighbors to at least be a decent receiver.
Yeah, and 22 is a good spot to take him.
Yeah, I have confidence in Gano to be a good kicker. And yeah, I mean, past that, I don't know. I don't even know if I fully trust the defense just because we have a new defensive scheme. I don't know what's going to happen. That might be the only two I would actually be interested in taking.
It depends where you are in the draft and who gets taken.
Yeah,
who gets taken. Because runs go like all the time. Like you see it all the time in regular drafts. But like when you're drafting a team and you take your wide 4 backup and all of a sudden you get someone going, we're going to go with the Niners defense. And you go, ugh. Next person goes Baltimore's defense. And it goes all the way around. And next you know, the 8th defense is off the board. You go, Giants.
It's like it's the same as like when there's a run on wide receivers in the NFL draft. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it happens every year.
Happens all the time.
So, all right. Let's get into talk a little training camp here. Training camp. Yeah. The NFL announced today all the training camp dates and locations here. So obviously the Giants that includes there. As usual, the Giants will hold their training camp at the Quest Diagnostic Training Center there. Obviously, that's where they always have their training camps at because they literally own the building. So therefore, why not have it there? Rookies are going to be reporting on the 16th of July. Veterans will report on the 23rd of July. First practice is going to be on the 24th. The Giants officially, we talked about this as being a rumor, but they have officially announced that they'll be doing joint practices also with the Detroit Lions during their Week 1 preseason matchup there. I just hope they don't get their teeth kicked in like they did last year against the Lions in practice. That was a little embarrassing as a Giant fan, to be honest. I know the Lions turned out to be a very good team, obviously, but like going into the last year, like, oh yeah, the Lions just whooped your butt. Like that's usually not a good thing in the NFL. It's a little demeaning. I know a lot of you guys who look to go to the open fan practices there. They have not announced dates for that yet, but keep an eye out because I'm sure that's not coming too far down the pipeline there. So. Wish I could go. You look to go to one, Rob?
We'll try to.
Yeah, if I lived in Jersey, I would love to go. But yeah,
that's on the dates.
That's always the way it is. Yeah, that's always the way it is. Remember last year we were talking about going to the Fan Fest, and then they freaking made it a BS Fan Fest. Oh, let's watch a movie at the stadium. No, I wanted to practice to watch together and a game and a scrimmage and all this stuff. Watch a freaking movie.
Yeah,
not there to watch a movie. God damn it. So hopefully
never Titans.
All right. So 2 more stuff here for you guys real quick. So Eli Manning had an interview with Kevin Clark on This Is Football and named his 2 toughest teammates. And I got to say, it's not who I expected here. It's not who I expected. Not that I thought he didn't like these guys or anything. It's just not the name I would have thought he would have gone with there. I would have thought he would have gone with the offensive lineman, maybe Strahan or JPP or OC, one of those kind of guys. But no, he listed Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. His exact quote, he said, we had a couple of running backs with Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. Both those guys, if I were ever to get into a fight, I'd want those guys on my side. I think you would have to literally kill them to get them to stop coming after you. That's it doesn't sound like a running back. Again, that sounds like a big, defensive lineman, offensive lineman kind of thing at that point. That doesn't sound like a phrase you say about a running back typically. Brandon Jacobs said, we were in Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. We ran outside. He meets Charles Woodson about 4 years down the field. And I think Brandon, it's like he never even knew Charles Woodson was there. Just totally ran through him. Woodson kind of bounces off, and it just set the tone for that game. He said, I think Ahmad, obviously, he had one versus the Jets in 2011. He runs right through a safety at the goal line, just plows through him and goes to the end zone for us to take the lead and keep the lead and win that game. I mean, again, not the guys I would have thought. Again, not that I didn't think he had respect for these guys. Not that he didn't like playing with these guys. I mean, it was a good running back duo, really. But I don't think that was the guys that I would have ever thought. Like, if you had asked me before this, who were the guys that were the toughest teammates overall for Eli? Probably maybe Chris Snee.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's also like, I feel like O-line, Strahan are obvious answers.
Oh yeah,
that's probably why he kind of went off onto this, and it's also like, it's not that he never was in a huddle or around Strahan, but like, Ahmad and Jacobs were literally behind him all the time, running into guys that are bigger than they are and keep going. And that's probably why he gives them credit.
Yeah. I mean, run game obviously sets up a passing game. A passing game sets up a run game. Spend a lot of time together. I get it. It's just, I said, just a little shocking of an answer. Not what I thought we'd have there. So, all right.
Yeah.
We got one more thing to talk about here, and that's the newest New York football giant. Oh, yes, the Giants made a signing here. Now, those of you who are watching the YouTube videos on a regular basis, we're going to post this segment prior to this episode. So you might be like, oh, we already saw this. Tough deal. So to get
rewatch it.
We're on the rewatch here. So Giants signed the all UFL running back Jacob Sailors. Not sure what to think of the pick, to be honest with you guys. So he was originally signed as a rookie free agent in 2023 by the Bengals from East Tennessee State University, or ETSU as they call it. Later was cut and picked up by the Atlanta Falcons, spent most of the season on their practice squad. He went on the IR, though, on the 20th of November, was waived in January. He then signed on with the St. Louis Battlehawks at the UFL there. 9 games with the St. Louis Battlehawks there, 461 yards, second most in the league, 5 touchdowns, 4.9 yards per carry, 23 receptions, 152 yards, and 3 touchdowns, which I thought was interesting because the big knock out of him coming out of college was he didn't catch the ball. Not that that's a huge amount of catches, don't get me wrong, but still he got a nice, decent amount of reception touchdowns, that's for sure. 3 in 9 games, that's a pretty good ratio there. You figure if that was an NFL season, he had 5 or 6, you would definitely take that from running back in a heartbeat. So interesting to have that. He split carries actually with ex-Giant Wayne Gallman, by the way. Clearly the better of the two, but interesting to get a future Giant and a former Giant there together. He was named to the all UFL team, as I said. And, I think this is one of those moves that I don't think is probably going to be a big move. I really don't. But sometimes you get these guys in these smaller schools. They come out of nowhere. They just pop on the scene and do something. So somebody to keep an eye on, because sometimes those guys just, like I said, they shock you. They do a little better than you expect sometimes. But I wouldn't hold my breath on it. I'll put it that way.
No.
Chase Cota, we talked about the wide receiver formerly of the Lions here. We got hurt during the OTAs there. Was moved to the IR as a corresponding move. So safe to say that Chase Cota is probably done with the Giants at that point there. We'll see if that pans out true, or they hold on to him for the year if nobody picks him up, or ends up with this again next year. We'll see. But at least for this year, you will not see Chase Cota on New York Giant football field anytime soon. So, all righty, guys. We're going to call it a night here. This is the last of our pre-recorded episodes, by the way, guys. We'll be back again Monday night for you guys live. I'll be just getting off a plane, a little tired probably from my nap that I'll have on the plane. But I'll be back live at that point there with Rob, which is ironic because we're going to see each other this weekend coming up here, but we're not doing a show together. Instead, we're going out for sushi with the women there. So definitely
maybe some sakis.
Maybe sake it to me.
Sake it to me, baby.
Oh, do behave. But yeah, so appreciate you guys listening in. Again, we'll be back again Monday Night Live. I know it's kind of not as much fun for you guys doing the pre-recorded, though we appreciate you guys sticking through. Still want to make sure we have the Giants news there for you, everything going for you guys. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, /X, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. That is iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all the biggies there. And of course, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the share, hit everything except for me and Rob. Don't hit us.
Yeah, hit us, just don't hit the dislike.
Appreciate you guys listening as always. And as always, Giant fans,
Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.